Hey, what's going on? It's your boy BT, and I came here to talk some boxing with the thousands of True School Sports subscribers. Now, wanted to talk about this whole matchup between Canelo versus GGG because, as many of you know, they have agreed to fight for a third time. September the 12th is the date, so if it does happen, if we're not on quarantine and if the world is still somewhat intact, it'll be September the 12th. They were saying Cowboy Stadium's the leading venue if they fight. And, with that being said, I wanted to just give my thoughts on it because I do have a little bit to say about this fight. Now I'm gonna get up and I'm gonna pace back and forth because I seem to have good energy when I pace back and forth in my living room. But I'll just be real with you guys. I'm not really excited for Canelo versus Triple G number 3, and it's for a number of reasons. We'll start off with these two fighters themselves. We'll start off with Canelo because anybody who's followed this channel knows I cannot stand Canelo. I think the guy is bad for boxing. I think he's overrated, and I think he's overrated in every single way possible, from him as a fighter to just him. Even his star power is overrated because nobody outside of boxing that's not Mexican doesn't know who he is. So even as a star, I think he's overrated because he's not really moved the needle like that, contrary to popular belief. But Canelo was rumored to fight Billy Joe Saunders, and you know what? I wasn't the most excited for that fight because of the fact that I knew Billy Joe Saunders would never get a fair shake, and he would have to knock Canelo out. And listen, Canelo's a very durable guy, and guys aren't just knocking him out. So it kind of sucked the wind out of the excitement for that fight for me. But Billy Joe Saunders would have been a great fight. Would have been a great test for Canelo. It would have been great to see how he dealt with the slickness, the movement, the angles of Billy Joe Saunders. And Billy Joe's been a guy in his career where he's proven to fight up to the level of his competition. So the better the opposition has been, the better he's fought. And the worse the competition has been, he fights down to the level of those guys a lot of the time as well. So, I probably would have got more excited for that fight as it got closer. Obviously I've been campaigning very hard here on YouTube for Canelo to stop being a little sissy and fight Demetrius Andrade. He don't want no smoke, and he's done everything to avoid Demetrius Andrade. Demetrius Andrade avoided him at 154 and is avoiding him at 160, and he even went out of his way to slight Demetrius Andrade and his resume and his accomplishments in boxing. So that's left a sour taste in my mouth. The rehydration clauses, all the things that people don't like Canelo for, count me in on that because I'm right there. I'm right there with them. Golovkin, he's pissed me off because in his career, especially since he lost the rematch to Canelo, his career from the moment he signed with the Zone was all about Canelo. I mean, and even before that, it was all about Canelo. His whole existence as a boxer is Canelo. He signed with the Zone. He fought Steve Rolls on his DAZN debut. Then he fought Demetrius in a mandatory defense in a fight that I thought he lost. I thought he lost. I really thought he lost that fight. And I thought Demetrius should get a rematch. And then he was going to fight Kamil Shmerta, in one of the worst matchups in the middleweight division that you could possibly, see or make. And, that's not happening now. And I think that's probably the one silver lining of this whole thing is that we don't have to see Gennady Golovkin versus Kamil Shmerta because that would have been horrific to watch. But this fight is just it's holding up 160 and 168. It's holding up all the great fights and great names, the other great fights and great names that could have been made, particularly if we're talking about 160 because Canelo and GGG, they're both obviously great fighters. They're both great talents. But I want to see these guys against someone new. It's two of the someone else in the division. Like a Billy Joe Saunders, like initially Canelo, or maybe Demetrius Andrade. I've campaigned hard for that fight on both fronts. Jamal Charlo, Derevinchenko is another one. These are just some of the names that come to mind. Hell, and I know people are gonna laugh, but even John Ryder, I would like John Ryder to fight one of these guys even more than a third fight with them because I'm just so done with Canelo Triple G. All right, there's gonna be more corruption. There's gonna be more smoke and mirrors. I don't want to see it. I really don't. I'm over it. John Ryder should even get a fight, with one of these guys because really he beat Callum Smith. John Ryder beat Callum Smith and they robbed him blind. So he should take Caleb Smith's spot in the queue, and maybe he should have got some consideration. You know what I'm saying? So I'm just not really excited for it. And as for their matchup, you know, Golovkin is about to be 38 years old. Not too far from now. He's gonna be 38 years old. He's slowing down significantly. I mean, he's still a hard puncher. He's still dangerous. Like, you can't just sit there in front of him and think it's gonna be sweet with Golovkin. But truth be told, with Golovkin, like, he's been slowing down ever since the Kell Brook fight. Ever since then, he's been slowing down. Every fight from there, he's been showing, you know, cracks and chinks in the armor. And he's still an elite middleweight. You know, don't get it twisted. But, you know, with Canelo in the prime of his career, you know, when his talent has met at its highest peak with his mental capacity and his mental side of boxing, you know, he's in his prime right now, and he's operating at a very high level. He's coming off of a win, even though I thought it was a really bad win in terms of the fact that, you know, so come on, Sergey Kovalev blatantly took a dive in that fight. We all know it. He took a dive. It was a sparring session. You know, I'm not looking forward to it because I think this will be the first. I think this will be the first time where he actually legitimately defeats Gennady Golovkin. Because the first fight, I didn't think he won that fight, and the second fight, I didn't think he won the fight either. I had Golovkin winning both the first and second fights, but this fight, you know, I'm thinking Canelo's really gonna put the exclamation point and actually beat Golovkin. And when he does, the hype around him will be like no other. If you think it's bad now, you know, wait till he beats Golovkin. You know, it's gonna be even worse. And you know, one interesting dynamic that I think we should consider is the fact that Golovkin's not with Abel Sanchez anymore. So you're not really getting that Golovkin that's in there to seek and destroy. I mean, he still has that in him, but he's not being trained in that manner. He's being trained to kind of box a bit more from the outside and, you know, be a bit more poised on the outside. That's what Jonathan Banks is coaching him to do. And because of that, I just see him getting countered, and with him aging, your reflexes slowing down. I just think it's a recipe for disaster. And then if the fight is at Cowboy Stadium in Texas, oh my God. We all know that in the history of boxing, the opposing fighters do not get a fair shake against a Mexican fighter in Texas. It does not happen. It didn't happen for Pernell Whitaker. It didn't happen for Paulie Malignaggi against Juan Diaz. And it's not going to happen now against Canelo. So don't hold your breath on... If this fight is close, do not hold your breath on Golovkin getting a decision, because it's not going to happen. All right? It's even less likely to happen in Texas than it is in Las Vegas. Okay? I'm letting you know that right off the bat. So the only way Golovkin has a snowball's chance in hell winning this fight, is he's got to fold up and stop Canelo. And I just can't see that, because I'm not sure if it's going to be at 160 or 168, but if the fight is at 168 especially, the extra weight is not going to help Golovkin. I know some people might say it might help Golovkin because, you know, he's aging, and generally when you age, your body puts on weight. So some people are saying it's going to help him, but I'm telling you right now, it's not going to help him. He's going to be slower. His reflexes are going to be slower, and he's going to get countered with something really, really, really nasty. And I think he's going to get really hurt. And it's going to, and if Golovkin gets folded up in this fight, I think it's going to be a really horrible way to end what's been a remarkable career in the sport of boxing. I mean, Golovkin's had a great career. You know, obviously his resume lacks, you know, big names, because in a lot of cases a lot of these guys ducked him. I mean, it took Canelo forever and a day just to fight him. So, you know, his resume isn't like the best, but, you know, in terms of accomplishments, in terms of, you know, being unified champion, in terms of the title defense streak, you know, the knockouts, the moments he's given boxing fans, he's had a remarkable career, and I firmly believe that one day Golovkin will find his way in the Boxing Hall of Fame. But if Canelo absolutely folds him up in a rematch in the third fight, it's gonna, you know, he will probably retire, because you can look at Gennady Golovkin, you could see, just in his body language, his mannerisms, you can tell that boxing has become just a job to him. He doesn't really love it like he used to. And this is my opinion. I don't think he loves boxing like he used to. And I believe if Canelo stops him, he will retire after this fight. And what a horrible way to go out. What a horrible way to go out if that's the case. So I just don't like the fight, because there's so many other fights in the middleweight division that I'd rather see than Canelo versus Golovkin. Like, I'm not shitting on the fight. I think it will be an exciting fight. Because all these fights with Golovkin and Canelo have been exciting. I'm not taking that away from it. They've been great fights. but they've been overshadowed and they've been ruined with corruption, with piss poor decisions, with horrible judges, with Adeline Bird, just messing everything up. And I'd rather not go through it again. I'd rather, if somebody else is gonna get robbed against Canelo, can it be somebody new? can we go through something new? So there's about a good 4 or 5 fights in this, in the middleweight division that I'd rather see before these two fighting again. And all I see it for what it is. It's just a massive money grab. It's another money grab because look, both Canelo and Golovkin, they have some accomplishments. They have a name. They're brands in the sport of boxing. They're not just fighters. They're brands. They're name brand. They're world known brands when it comes to this boxing thing. So they don't necessarily, as corny as this is to say, in their minds and in the eyes of a lot of people, they don't really gotta prove as much as, like, let's say an Andrade or a Billy Joe Saunders or a Charlo. They don't gotta prove it. They don't gotta prove it as much. So they're just looking for the biggest money possible. I mean, the absolute biggest money possible, and the biggest money possible is for them to fight a third time, and it politically is gonna make a lot of sense because that's what the Zone brought Canelo and Golovkin to the network for. They didn't bring him to the network to fight, as much as I hate to say, as Demetrius Andrade, or Billy Joe Saunders. No, they brought them to the platform so they could fight each other because they believe from a business standpoint that this fight will generate interest and it'll drive up subscribers. And for the Zone, that's the end game. The end game for them is to drive subscribers, to bring attention and notoriety to their platform. And that's just what it is. There's no two ways about it. Now, the only positive thing about these two fighting each other, the only two positive things about these two not fighting each other is I don't have to see Golovkin fight Camilo Schmerta, so I'm happy about that. And Callum Smith isn't getting a Canelo fight, which makes me extra happy. So, there are positives to this. I'm glad Callum Smith isn't getting no Canelo payday. He's not getting no Triple G payday, so he can go take his hype job ass and fight John Ryder because they royally screwed John Ryder last year. And I'm gonna keep talking about it. Anytime I talk about the middleweight division or super middleweight division, I will bring up the John Ryder Callum Smith fight because it was truly a piss poor robbery of the highest order last year. But y'all asked me what my thoughts were on this fight. It's not really a fight that I'm excited about. Like I'll cover it. I'll be here on True School Sports to cover the fight because I know people when that fight actually does happen, people are gonna want me to talk about it. So I will talk about it. I'll be rooting for Golovkin to win the fight, but I can't see this fight ending in any other way than Canelo winning. Whether it's by hook or by crook, he is winning. And no matter how he wins, it could be Golovkin's last stand and it could be his last fight. And if he ends it with an L against Canelo, and that would make it back-to-back on paper, what a horrible way to end what's been a remarkable career. So I'm rooting for him. If Golovkin wins this fight, he will go down as one of my favorite fighters of all time because I cannot stand Canelo. I think I have almost nothing positive to say about Canelo, to be honest with you. I can say, you guys might be surprised about this, but I can actually say more positive things about Deontay Wilder than I can Canelo. And I can't stand Canelo. And y'all think I hate Deontay Wilder. I legitimately can say I'm teetering on borderline hatred of Canelo Alvarez. Because I don't think he's exciting, as far as his personality. I don't think he's like this great. He's not great for boxing. It's not like he's this great star that's bringing all this attention outside of boxing fans and Mexican fans. He's overrated to me in every sense of the word, and I have nothing else to say about this fight. So we'll talk about it later on, but there's my thoughts. So you guys let me know what you think in the comments down below. Take the time to subscribe, and like I say in every single one of these damn videos, you can love me or you can hate me, but I'm just a kid from Daniel. So until next time. Take care, guys. Golovkin, please help the sport of boxing and rid 160 and 168 of this freaking fraud. I'm in your corner, Triple G, so please get it done. Please get it done. I'm sick of this clenbuterol freaking cheat, Canelo.